This is a big day. We're going to learn a couple of important things here. The first is we're going to learn about labels, which is when you can name a frame. So let's view this movie right now. As it stands, we've got an alligator coming out, and then we've got a snake coming out. So it's linear in that the playhead basically is moving right through this frame by frame and goes from the beginning to the end. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to learn how we can do it in a non-linear way. So what we're going to do is we're going to create labels, one called alligator and one called snake, and we're also going to learn how to create a button that will go to the particular frame that we want. And now we're going to learn how to create some buttons. So the first thing you'll notice is I created a layer called buttons, and I'm going to have it be on the first frame there. So I'm going to show you this way. Let's insert a new symbol, and we're going to call it Gator. Now let's call it, Gator button. Gator BTN. Little convention there, so when I see BTN, I know it's a button. I'm going to leave it be a movie clip. You might say make it a button. We're just going to keep it simple right now and have a movie clip, and I'm going to say OK. So I'm going to draw my button right here. So I'm going to come in here. There's the middle of it, and I'll just kind of create a little box like that, black, and then I'll put some white text on it. So let's tell it to be white here, and we'll say Gator, and that's going to be too big, but all right, it's gray, and I'm going to reduce the size of that quite a bit just to get it going. Come on, there we go. Good enough. Not the greatest button, and I'm going to drag it down, and there is my Gator button. Now let's go back to scene one. So let's find my library, and there's my Gator button right here. I want to make sure I'm in the right layer, and I'm going to take that Gator button and put it right here. Now again, I could have snake too, but let's start simple, and we're going to have the Gator button. Now, I need this movie to stop at frame 1 and wait for a mouse click on the Gator here. So what I need to do is something brand new, really important, and what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of code snippets. Okay, they're already open, they're down here. Now we're going to be using this a little bit to help us with our coding because it's a new language, and the one thing we're going to do right now is we're going to come into timeline navigation and just tell it to stop at this frame. So I'm going to double click on this. And what it did is it created its own layer, actions. It put it on top, the very top layer, and it gave me a particular frame, frame 1 in this case, with an A in it. So what that does is it's going to give me a command stop at this frame, and let me just show you what it is. There it is. So in frame 1, it is just saying stop. And notice the parentheses and the semicolon. That is the convention. It's also commented in some things for you to read, but I'm just explaining it saying stop there. So now if I play this movie, it's not going to go anywhere. You may remember before it automatically showed you the Gator, but right now it's being stopped. So what I'm going to do now is this, and here's how you give commands to buttons. I am going to select this button. That's a symbol. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to go to the code snippets again, and I'm going to go here where it says click to go to frame and play, and I'm going to double click on that. And I need to give it an instance name. Now that's new, so I'll just go ahead with what it says here, movie clip 1. In other words, we just need to know it's a symbol and we've given it an instance name. I'll explain that in detail another time. I'm going to say OK, and it comes in here and it's saying, OK, movie clip 1, which is the name of that button. Listen for a mouse click, and what we're going to do is we're going to change this 5. That 5 is just arbitrarily picking, hey, I'm going to send you to the 5th frame, but we went to the trouble of naming frames. So what I'm going to do right now is have a quotation, and then it's spelled exactly as it is in the timeline. Go to and play Gator. So let's now see if that is going to work. So what I'm going to do now is play this movie where, remember before, it just stayed on the first frame. So let's see what happens. Here we are. I'm going to click on the gator, and notice it went to the gator. But what's going to happen too is it's also going to go to the snake. So what we need to realize is that we need to, after it's done showing the gator, we want to go in there and tell it go back to, in this case, start. So what I'm going to do now is realize I'm going to go into this frame, and this is what gets people a lot of times is, once we're done showing the gator, we want to have it come back to the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a keyframe here, and now there is my actions window. And what I can say now is, and I'm doing this from memory, but I think I can do it, is go to and play. I'm typing both parentheses in there, and I'm going to do the first frame, which I've named start. And I'm typing this in. I'm not using the code snippets this time. Sometimes you could maybe use it too. Go to and play start. So what's going to happen is the playhead's going to start on frame 1. We're going to click on Gator. It's going to jump up to this frame here, play that, and it's going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And then when it gets to this frame 51, it's going to receive go to and play start, and then it's going to go back to the beginning. So if this is successful, it's going to show you the gator, go back to the start, no snake. Let's see if it works. Here we are, gator. I'm going to click on gator. Shows the gator and comes back to the start. Notice the gator's gone. So that is successful, and that is, in a nutshell, how to start to begin creating some movies that have scripts in them.